Black man found dead against tree with rope around his neck in North Carolina.
No.
Not a lynching, sheriff says.
That's the headline. Read it again. Quote, he was not swinging from a tree. The rope was wrapped around his neck. It was not a noose. So therefore, it was not a lynching here in Vance County.
This was yesterday at 9:05 p.m. on ABC 11 Eyewitness News, which is a local North Carolina ABC News.
Okay.
Black man found dead against tree with rope around his neck in North Carolina.
No.
Not a lynching, sheriff says.
That's the headline. Read it again.
Black man found dead against tree with rope around his neck in North Carolina. NC, but North Carolina.
Yep.
Quote, not a lynching, sheriff says. I really trust a North Carolina sheriff to tell me it's not a lynching.
Wow. So the rope around the neck.
So let me read you this horse shit.
Is this a true story, by the way?
It's a true story. This happened. Was posted 9 p.m. yesterday.
And
this is the 14th today.
Like local NBC, North Carolina.
Local ABC.
ABC, North Carolina.
No one else has picked it up. When you look this up, I had to look up.
How did you find it?
Because the guy that I watch on YouTube had covered it because someone found it for him. Oh. So I had to look up ABC 11 lynching North Carolina to even find this.
How could this not
If you look up anything else, you get shit from like 2020 and forever ago.
I'm posting that on Reddit for sure.
Yeah, you should. So I'm going to read this real quick.
At the end of the podcast.
So a Chicago truck driver, 21 years old, Jon McGee, was trucking on through North Carolina, as truck drivers do. We can find out how rural this area is if you want. Was found dead in a rural area off Vanco Mill Road on Wednesday. Vanco Mill Road, North Carolina. Investigators said he was not far from his truck, leaning with his back up against a tree and a rope around his neck. McGee was in Henderson, North Carolina, making a delivery to the Walmart distribution center. You ready for this? On Friday, Sheriff Curtis R. Brame, B-R-A-M-E, Bram, whatever, told ABC 11 his office was conducting a death investigation. Bram told ABC 11 that there were no signs of foul play in McGee's death. He said McGee went to a nearby Walmart shortly before he died. That is where he believes to have bought the rope found around his neck. When ABC 11 asked more about that, he declined to elaborate. In response to social media rumors, the sheriff continued to reiterate that McGee's death was not a lynching. Quote, there is not a lynching in Vance County.
Wow.
I really trust rural North Carolina sheriffs to not...
So the argument is this. So I'm looking at this on Daily Mail, UK. So this is picked up a little... This is yesterday. So this has picked up a little bit of traction, but not much.
Not really anything serious. It should be...
Here's the compelling quote to me. It says, quote, and I'm assuming this is... Who is this quote? This is from Vance County Sheriff Curtis R. Brame.
Yeah, that's the guy who said it's not a lynching.
Okay, so this is more of the quote. Quote, the young man was not dangling from a tree. He was not swinging from a tree. The rope was wrapped around his neck. It was not a noose. There was not a knot, like tied in a knot. There was not a knot in the rope. So therefore, it was not a lynching here in Vance County. So he's making the argument that there was...
So when you have a hyper strict 1860s definition of a lynching, sure.
Yeah, you've got to tie the noose shape.
A comic book movie noose shape.
That's...
And they have to be swinging for several hours continually.
Yeah.
If he wasn't swinging, not a lynching. If he was still
be hanging. That's pretty crazy to me that... I don't know.
I'll put it like this. Very interesting that he has rope around his neck at a tree.
Right. Of course.
Very interesting.
What was the cause of death is my question.
He won't talk about it.
So this, to me... Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a second. Are you ready?
Sure.
We don't need to look at the computer anymore.
Sure.
So is it a good idea for everybody in America to know about this?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm devil's advocate right now.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not here to like stump you or anything. I'm just like, I'm playing a devil's advocate. So I feel like some people in power on either side of the political spectrum, honestly, but will news of this inflame people? Will it incite more violence in some way?
If people get mad at racist people,
I'm saying it's justified. Like I'm agreeing it's justified that whoever did this it's a horrible thing.
I agree with you. Yeah, I know you're saying
And
that.
very likely a racial thing, just kind of based on the initial impression. So like acknowledging that.
That's specifically why it's a problem. You know what I mean?
That's why it should be news.
Yeah. Because people die all the time in this country, and it's not news.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But this is.
Yeah.
Somebody in North Carolina killed a black man.
With rope around his neck at a tree.
And tied rope around his neck. Either they placed it thereafter to make it look like something, or what? I mean, maybe he was shot in the chest.
But he's been sent to the medical examiner. The body.
Yeah, so we're going to be on the lookout for a cause of death there, because that is...
this is interesting. The preliminary results showed no concrete determination of the cause of death. There was no obvious signs of defensive wounds or scars on his limbs, including arms and legs.
So nothing like a gunshot or stab wounds.
The autopsy showed there were no signs of hemorrhaging detected around the soft parts of his neck.
All right, so it also didn't look like he had been hanged either.
Yeah. So what did you die? I don't know. They're doing a toxicology report, so
there's a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
About what in the world is going on there. All right, so I wonder if people are waiting for a little more information.
Maybe. I can tie this. This actually, you know what? I'm tying this directly into something J.D. Vance said at one point in his life.
By the way, is this when you don't completely know the truth yet, and let's just assume for a moment that the people that work for the medical examiner's office and et cetera, nobody gets involved to interfere, and everything's done on the up and up, and eventually we get a death report and we understand how he really died, and there is an investigation that, more deeply than just immediately reacting, this was not a lynching.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. If I'm a cop in that county, the last thing I want is something like riots in my neighborhood, in my city, because that's the kind of thing.
Well, are you that scared because you live in a place in the country where people could put this? If we were in New York
devil's
City,
advocate right now.
Yeah. If
I'm that cop,
yeah,
I'm downplaying it.
Yeah, and that's why it should be.
That's why it needs to be brought
another
up.
Reason it should be brought up. Like if someone said it's not a lynching in Manhattan, I might be like, I'm gonna extend some charitability. I'm with you. That would be quite an odd thing to happen.
I'm gonna call this story.
But if we're in the middle of nowhere,
yeah,
the South,
yeah,
I'm not willing to extend that charitability.
I think
you know what I mean.
I think there's potential here for a significant news story. This